Everything that you want already exists because you're source energy. You are an extension of source energy. And when you decided to come into this body to have a contrasting resistance experience because you wanted to figure out exactly what it is that you wanted. You wanted to be put into this environment where you could sift and sort and come up to your own preferences. And so not all of you decided to come into this body. Most of you what remain in the non-physical, and the rest of you came into this body, this personality that you now know as you. And as you are this personality that you now know as you, you still continue to be this source energy. And this source energy is here with you. And that's what your emotions are all about. And the thing is, when you're manifesting anything, your emotions are really important, because when you want to manifest something, you're not bringing it to you. You're not actually doing any action. You see, it's interesting when we're talking about manifestation, because when you talk about manifestations, when you're physical, you only count your desires as real when you can see them with your eyes and when everyone else can see them. Otherwise, those desires, those things that you've been wanting, they're, as you now look at them, are now absent since you can't see them. And while that is logical, while that is considered a real reality, that's not what a perceiver or a creator does, because everything that you want already exists. And that's how the universe works. That's the order of this universe and this entire law of attraction. Ask and it is given. But the thing about the ask and it is given is that it's given in the vibrational form first. And the thing about the vibrational form is that when it's given vibrationally, then the only way that you can understand that, it's emotionally. So it's all frequencies, because law of attraction is literally matching likes frequencies up together. And that's exactly what law of attraction is all about. That's how your radios work. And that's how everything works. Law of attraction is behind everything. So you're not going to manifest what you want. It has already been manifested. The real manifestation has already occurred. And we know it sounds crazy. When we say that your desire is already real right now, does that defy your logic? How does that feel? Because when you think of something that's real, you look at your reality and you don't see it. So you're like, when it's real, I can only perceive it through my five senses. But we're saying you can perceive it with your sixth sense, this vibrational, sophisticated sensory experience, otherwise known as your emotions. Your emotions are coming straight from source energy. Your emotions are only about one thing. They're about your relationship with source energy. And the thing is, you're causing source energy to expand just by you being here. So source energy becomes the vibrational equivalent of everything that you want, every single second that you want it. And your inner being decided, well, you two, both of you had an agreement that your inner being would remain the vibrational placeholder of all of your desires. So while you were mixing it up, you would have this guidance system. Your inner being, since it had no resistance, it could focus on everything that you wanted, so that when law of attraction beamed its signal onto, your inner being's point of attraction, your inner being focus on whatever you want, whatever this life has caused you to want, and it remains non-resistant. And so that means that energy is fast, because if there's no resistance, then the energy is moving fast. But that's the thing, is that you can be a holdout. You can decide not to, allow the energy that creates worlds, the true leverage that you have. You can depend only on your action. You can depend on your split energy action, which is, I don't like my reality, so I'm going to do whatever I can to change it, instead of doing whatever you could to do the vibrational work, feel better. You see, the real manifestation has already happened, because your inner being has already become the vibrational equivalent. And we know it's so interesting to talk about your inner being, but that's who you really are. When we're talking about your inner being, we're really talking about you. We're talking about your second point of attraction, because you have 2 points of attractions. So the money that you want, everything that you want, has already become a reality. And to your inner being, which is what your emotions are all about, your other point of relativity, your emotions and your desires are telling you right now that everything you want already exists. That's why when you look at your bank account right now and you see the absence of your dollars, and you feel the manifestation of a negative emotion, and when you experience the manifestation of a negative emotion, that negative emotion is because source energy in that moment is looking at your bank account and thinking different. You're looking at your bank account and you're looking at the balance, and you're coming to the conclusion, I don't have any money, and I don't see how I'm gonna have any more money, and that makes me feel uncomfortable. While your inner being is saying, because think about and now we're coming to a very interesting part of the conversation. Negative emotion. Negative emotion is the best thing ever, because the fact that you can feel negative emotion proves that what you want really does exist. Every subject is really 2 subjects, the presence and the absence. So there's no force of evil. There's no reason why you're not getting anything that you want, other than you're just focused on the absence, because there's the presence of the dollars and there's the absence of the dollars. So which one are you focused on? Because it doesn't depend on your words. Universe doesn't hear your words. You can say, well, I've been talking about money, I've been saying words that feel really good, I've been affirming, I've been doing all the work, and I've been using all the nice sounding words, but it doesn't matter what you say. It only matters about how you feel. And that's a real finesse, because this is a vibrational universe. So everything is done through your vibration. Everything is heard, everything is given to you with your vibration. And you know what's really funny is that you're always a vibrational match to whatever you get. You're always whether it's unconscious or whether you're, focusing on or you're a sloppy thinker, you're offering vibrations about everything simply because you're allowing life to tune you. Instead of you tuning your frequency, whatever's in front of you is what tunes your frequency. So you get a little bit of everything. You are a mixed bag. So back to negative emotion. The fact that you can feel negative emotion means that your desire does exist, because think about what your emotions are about. They're about what your inner being thinks. It's about what your inner being thinks about what you're thinking about. That's real guidance. That's why you came into this life experience and you were so down. You were not afraid of contrast because you always knew that you would have a guidance system. And how would you know the channel of where something exists if you didn't experience the channel of where it didn't exist? That's that tuning experience. That's what contrast is all about. When you know what you don't want, when you know what the absence of money feels like, you know, emotionally speaking, vibrationally speaking, you know where the channel, you know how to take yourself to the channel of more money, or what it feels like. And that's what we're saying. We're saying find the channel, find the tuning, tune to the channel. It's not about manifesting, it's about tuning to the channel, tuning to the frequency. And as you tune into the frequency of your money, because it's here right now. And that's what's so interesting, because to your inner being lives in the vortex. So if your inner being stands in your vortex, then that means that your inner being is in the current reality. And while you right now look at your bank balance, you're looking at the past. You're looking at the past. So you know what that means? That means that you got to stay up to speed with your inner being, because your inner being is never going to lower its frequency for you, because that would defy the promise that you made each other before you came into this body. Your inner being has no resistance. So your inner being doesn't have the same, not problems, but the same patterns of resistance as you, because when you want something, your inner being only sees ways that you can have it. Your inner being only loves you. Your inner being is literally staying up to speed with your desires, and you got to stay up to speed with your desires. When you look at your face right now and you have your conclusions about it, all those negative emotions means that your inner being is disagreeing with all of your opinions, because your inner being lives in your vortex. And you can stand where you are and be like, well, it's real, I should focus on, even though it feels bad, it's still real. But to your inner being doesn't care. And it's so important to understand that what your inner being thinks about you is the only thing that matters. No one else's opinion about you matters, because your inner being has the key to your vortex. And it's so interesting to describe an inner being, because that's what people have been talking about God about. That's what source energy is about. But you are an extension of that energy. You're not trying to, that source energy is imperfect, and you're not trying to find your worthiness to it. Source energy is here with you. This is a leading edge of source. You came here on behalf of source. You are the reason why source is expanding, and that's why source is sending these ambassadors, these clear, channels where you can clearly hear the vibrational resonance of source, and you can feel it, and you can know that these really are source energy words. And when you look at the balance of what you want, when you look at the balance of your bank right now currently, and you feel negative emotion, you can know that your inner being is thinking differently, and you gotta think the way your inner being thinks if you want to be happy. And that's what's so interesting. You gotta feel the way your inner being feels. So do you know how your inner being feels? We see it. Your inner being says we see the money. And so that's what that tug of war is. You say, well, I don't see it. And your inner being says, well, we see it. And you say, well, I don't see the money. I've never seen the money. And your being saying, well, we see the money. We know the vortex you've asked for. We know the laws of the universe. And that's the thing. You have to tune into it. It's literally like a radio channel. And as you tune into it, do you know what happens? You're going to feel an emotion, whether it's you're tuning to the absence or you're tuning to the presence. So we're saying, as you tune into the presence of the money, because your inner being is only focusing on the presence of what you want. So as you focus on the presence, then you really have guidance. You truly have guidance. You truly have the leverage. You truly have the power of alignment working at your fingertips, because now you're tuning into what you want. So now you're not waiting for your manifestations. Now your manifestations are not a future thing. Now your manifestations are current reality. They're here right now. You're being that blended being. You are being exactly the version of source that you decided to be here and experience. So this is a very interesting sort of place in the conversation, because what we're talking about is you allowing negative emotions to steer your vibration, to steer your ability to tune. So the thing about negative emotion is that your negative emotions are a good thing, because if source didn't feel so good, you wouldn't feel so bad. So you want to count on that. You want to count on source feeling good, because source feeling good means that everything that you want really exists, because you have a point of attraction that's literally focusing on everything that you want. So you got to get in on that. So you got to get out of the I and get into the we. You got to feel the resonance. So in that example of, your inner being checking your bank balance and your inner being saying, well, we don't see the money. Well, we see the money, and you're saying, well, I don't see it. Your inner being is always going to win. So now we're saying, instead of fighting for your limitations, because that's what makes tuning into the frequency hard. We're saying you gotta tune with your inner being. You gotta believe in your inner being's point of view, because that's what resonance is. That's what feeling good is. So as you're like, yeah, I see it too, I feel it. And as you feel the satisfaction, even as you feel the satisfaction of even just acknowledging that there is a vibrational version. So you can't see it, but it does exist vibrationally speaking. The satisfaction that you feel is all that matters, because as you find the satisfaction, as you talk about why you want it, as you go general on it, as you go up the emotional scale, as you do whatever it takes, as you daydream about it, you're literally living the manifestation right now. You're translating it right now. And do you know what we mean by translating your desire? We mean that you find the frequency of it, whether it's through your thought, whether it's through your meditation state, or whether it's just given to you, or whether you receive it right in your meditation state, because you're the receiver of the thought. You're not the thinker. You've already done all your thinking. You already set all of your creations into motion when you live the contrast and decided to ask for everything that you wanted. Now is the time to receive, and that's what we're saying. We're telling you to tune into your fortune, because it's here right now. Your desires are not out there, they're here right now with you. And it just takes you to defy, it takes you to expand your mind and understand that reality is a lot more than you think it is. It's not as real and tactile as you think it is. It's more vibrationally moving faster. It's more vibration than it is physical. And that's really good, because what that means is that you can become blended. You can tune into the money, and as you tune into the money, you can feel the harmony of the money, and you can be like, yeah, this right here is success, because you're tuning into it. Because if there's one thing that will never change, is the fact that your desires are still here, whether or not you can see them or not, whether or not you completely don't believe you can have it, they still exist. And we're saying you can tune into it. And as you tune into it, you're going to feel really good. And we want you to tune into what you want, and we want you to be satisfied with the emotional harmony, the emotional resonance that you feel with tuning into that channel, tuning into that frequency. And as you tune into that frequency and you feel the harmony, then do you know what happens? Momentum happens, and your desires happen so fast. And don't expect your desires to happen all at once, because you're trying to make them happen all at once. Accept that there is a journey, and accept that the journey is actually really fun. You're not here to just manifest everything. You're here to enjoy the journey, and you're gonna have amazing manifestations, and everything that you want is gonna come in really fast, because now you don't see anything as absent. You know how to stay up to speed with all of your desires. You know how to tune into them, because it's not about manifesting. It's about understanding that the real manifestation has already happened, because your inner being already became the vibrational version of your desires, just because you wanted it. Since you set the desire into motion, since you did your part of the job and your inner being did its part of the job, now you got to finish it off by being in the receiving mode, by, instead of being in the receiving mode of the absence, by being in the receiving mode of the presence of your desire. And it's really never been, better said than that, and negative emotion really helps you, because negative emotion is not a bad thing. Negative emotion is a good thing. When you feel negative emotion, you could be like, hey, I'm just a little off on the subject, so let me use my emotions. Let me take the vibrational journey. Let me find my way back to what feels good. And when you find your way back to what feels good, you're now living the presence. The presence of your desire feels good, and the absence of your desire feels bad. And that literally is the basis of your guide system. So as you find conversation that feels good about your desire, you are now experiencing your desire. You are now experiencing the manifestation. You're translating it. So that's what we're talking about. Translation of your desire is a really, really leading edge thing, because what we're really talking about is you staying on a frequency long enough that what's on that frequency can be revealed to you. And as it's being revealed to you, you can remain satisfied, because now the manifestation isn't the only thing that needs to be here right now for satisfaction. You can actually find satisfaction in the journey, because your desire has never been absent. Isn't that interesting? Because the only reason why you're not up to speed with your desire is because you're more up to speed with the absence of it. So better yet said, you want to be up to speed with the presence of your desire. So instead of being up to speed with the presence, you're more up to speed with the absence, because you can't physically see it. But we're saying, well, what does that feel? When you can't physically see your desire, that means, well, you feel negative emotion. So as you feel negative emotion, that's how you know that your inner being is focused on the positive, or on the presence of your desire. And so on the other side of your negative emotion is a positive emotion. And so you want, as best as you can, as quick as you can, to find your way, especially in the early stages. It's easier to do it, to find your way to your source energy. And don't try to do it all at once, because when you want something, when you've been talking about the absence, and even when you first want that desire, at first the absence is more familiar than the presence, and you have to tune yourself. That's what it is. It's a tuning. You have to know what it feels like, and we're telling you know how it feels like, because you know what the absence of what you want feels like. So as you know what the presence feels like, then you can practice yourself in tuning it. You can be, oh, I'm off, I'm a little on, and your guidance system helps you with that. Your emotions are the key to manifest what you want, because everything that you want already exists, and all you have to do is tune into it. And your emotions will let you know how to do that. And your emotions will let you know if you're close or far. And if you're really close, you're feeling good. And if you're feeling good, then you're translating your dollars. You're translating it. It's happening right now. You're emotionally experiencing right now. You're experiencing the rush of energy, the lifting feeling. You're experiencing all of it right now. So get in the vortex. Become a match to the vortex. Get feeling good. And as you get feeling good and then think about your desires, you're going to be translating your desires. So we don't want to hear your desires are absent, because they're not absent. They're here. And They're here right now. And as they're here right now, we want you to remember they're here right now because you have negative emotion to back you up. You'd be like, well, I have negative emotions. That means that this desire is here right now. So that's it. I have to accept that. I have to learn how to tune into a reality that I can't see, but I can feel. And we're saying that you can do that because you're vibrational experts. You're smart. You have understanding. You know that you're more than your body. And most importantly, you know that you came here for this exact experience. You came here to be the creator of your own experience. And a creator must create. And so you create with your emotions. You create with the clay of your emotions. And all you gotta do is just tune in. It's so interesting. All you have to do is literally tune into what you want. And as you're tuning into what you want, just enjoy the transmission. Enjoy what's on that channel. And at first, it's gonna be emotion. Then there's gonna be ideas. And then there's gonna be inspired action. You're gonna be like, oh, I want to meet this person. Go here, go here, go here. And the whole world is your oyster. You're gonna feel invincible because that's why you came into this body, because you were meant to feel invincible, and your guidance system backs you up. What is better guidance than having a source energy that will literally refuse to look at the absence of what you want? That's true guidance. That is a true friend. That is a true uplifter. Go off now and feel invincible. Go off now and tune into the frequencies of your desires and enjoy the transmission, because you want the manifestation right now, but we're saying you can't have the manifestation right now because you're not ready for the manifestation right now. You're ready for this and you're ready for this. So get ready to be ready. Get ready for and enjoy whatever you can, and go off now and be the creators that you truly came here to be, and the perceivers. Go and perceive as you were meant to perceive. Go and translate as you were meant to translate. Go and be this extension of source energy and become this and be this blended being.